The Inca were an advanced ancient civilization that built many ruins that still stand today, including Machu Picchu, one of the 7 wonders of the world. They also developed a messaging system using knots in a rope, a calendar, and many other advanced things. The Inca people lived in western South America on the Andes Mountains. Their empire was centered on the city of Cuzco in Peru. The Inca's empire existed from ACE 1438 to ACE 1533, lasting 95 years. Their empire ended when the Spaniards invaded them. Machu Picchu was a great Incan city located on a ridge between 2 mountains in the Cuzco region of Peru. It is one of the 7 wonders of the world, and about 300,000 tourists visit it annually. Because of the Incans' amazing skills in architecture, it still stands today. All of the buildings in Machu Picchu were built using granite. The extraordinary thing about Machu Picchu's architecture is that it was built over 2 fault lines in the Earth's crust that caused the area around them to be extremely earthquake-prone, yet still lasted hundreds of years and through several earthquakes without falling to the ground. The Incans lived in several different cities. All of the cities they lived in were carefully planned. The Incans laid out their cities in a grid, with the center being a central plaza. The central plaza was surrounded by public buildings and temples. Housing was built for everyone, including the common people, and instead of building a wall around their cities, the Incans built a large stone fortress near their cities that the people could flock to for protection in times of danger. The Incans ate several unique types of foods, including guinea pigs, which they kept in their homes. They also ate sweet potatoes, corn, tomatoes, avocados, beans, and quinoa, a type of grain. The Incans developed an ingenious way to farm in the mountains by terracing the sides of the mountains, which increased their yield dramatically. Because of their extremely efficient way to farm, they had an abundance of food every year. They freeze-dried the extra food that they had and stored it in large storehouses, which ensured they would never go hungry. The Incans kept guinea pigs in their homes and regularly killed them for food. The Incans also kept several other animals, including llamas and alpacas, llama-like animals. They used the llamas and alpacas for labor and food. The Incans were called the children of the sun. They worshipped nature gods, including the god of the sun, goddess of the moon, and the god of the earth. Like the Greeks did, they believed that the gods could intervene to help them or punish them. The Incan priests held great power because they could read the signs sent by the gods. The Incans also held human and animal sacrifices to appease the gods, especially the Incan god of death, Supe. Like Egyptians, the Incans mummified their dead and believed in an afterlife. Dress was an important part of Incan society and culture. The common people usually wore coarse wool or cotton robes, while the nobles wore large, extravagant, dyed fine wool or cotton robes. The emperor of the Incans never wore the same cloth twice. When he was done wearing a set of clothes, the clothes were burned. The emperor also wore a headdress with 2 feathers in it from a rare bird, and wore earrings so large that they pulled his earlobes down until they rested on his shoulders. Inca nobles wore rich costume, but a bit more sober than the emperor. The Inca had several important achievements. One of their greatest achievements was Machu Picchu. They also had many other significant achievements. They developed a water distribution system, a messaging system, a way of measuring time and a calendar, and invented the idea of freeze-drying food to preserve it. This is a method of preserving food that we still use today, although we remove the moisture from the food using machines instead of our feet. Perhaps their most important achievement was the idea of freeze-drying food because it is very important for food preservation today and has allowed humans to store food for long periods of time, which was and is very advantageous to us. In 1532, the Spanish invaded the Incans. The Spaniards conquered the Incans in 1533. The Spaniards slaughtered the Incans by fighting and by the introduction of diseases like smallpox to the Incans, who are not immune to it and therefore very vulnerable. The Incans' descendants are still alive today, although they are scattered throughout South America and do not hold the same culture. There are also several preserved remains of the Incans. Because the Incans regularly sacrificed children to appease the god of death, Supe, the mummified remains of children have been found on top of a mountain where the children were sacrificed. One of the mummies found was a 12 to 13-year-old girl, nicknamed the Ice Queen.